As you can see from the picture behind me, I was a successful football player here at Utah State University. I enjoyed that experience a great deal. It totally changed my life. It really saved me. It helped me to get into college, to work up, and to graduate and to be successful. Before becoming successful in football, I had to understand one concept. And the concept was, even you may sit here and wonder how I was successful as a football player, but that concept that I came to understand was the idea of movement. The idea that movement was an important part of improving my ability to play football. My secret to the game of football was like this. If you think of the players out on the field, I would just watch. When they would stop, I would stop. When the refs blew the whistle, I would know that it was a first down. I could see from the movement that was happening what was going on in the game, and I was able to move with it. My other secret was my ability to look at the line. You can look at me, you can tell I was a lineman. So if you know the line, you've got the center and the guard and the tackle. And I played on the defensive line, and I knew that I could look and watch, and based on their movement, I could understand what was happening. If the guard on the offensive line pulled to the left, I knew that the ball would be going to the left and I needed to move with it. It allowed me to be just as successful as any other player. I knew if the guard was going to pull to the right, all I needed to do was go with them to the right, because that's where the ball was going to go. That was the secret to my success. The other thing that I found was that I could look at the feet of the offensive linemen. If they were forward, it meant it was going to be a run play. If their feet were back on their heels, it was going to be a pass play. Once I understood that movement, then my game improved and I was able to become a successful football player. Movement has meaning. Movement is the way that I'm able to see sound. You hear it, I see it. I see the sound and I can recognize what's going on. I don't need to rely on my ears. I can use my eyes and have that movement allow me to understand what's going on. That understanding has changed my life. I know that when I'm in my house, if somebody comes and knocks on my door, I'm not going to hear it. But my children, who are in the same room with me, if they look towards the door, I know that somebody's there knocking based on their movement. If I see a car going by really fast, I know that's probably a teenage driver, maybe somebody in a hurry, based on the type of movement. With music, if I see people who are dancing slowly or lights at a concert that are going on and off slowly, I know the speed or rhythm of the music. If I see people dancing quickly and the lights going quickly, I know that the song is fast. I don't have to hear it to understand that. I can rely on the movement around me to help me see those things. If I'm looking at a river and I see white water across the top, I know that the river's moving fast and that it's crashing as it goes. I can see all of these things around me with the trees and the wind and the river around me. American Sign Language is the third most popular language in the United States. ASL has its own grammar, its own set of rules, an extensive set of rules, and one important component of those rules is movement. Movement plays an important role in American Sign Language. Growing up, I came to depend on movement for communication, to be able to understand what was around me. Often, Parents can be afraid to teach their deaf child sign language. They're worried that it might prevent them from learning to speak. But research actually shows the opposite. It shows that a deaf child who's exposed to ASL early in their life is able to understand the importance of movement and the things that are around them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that movement in sign language. I want you to actually join with me. Can you help me out that way? What I want you to do is to make the 5 hand shape. So you're going to extend all of your fingers, place it up like this, and we're going to make a tree. We're going to move the tree in the breeze. Based on that movement, we can show the tree as maybe it's a spindly little tree that's just moving a little bit, or a large tree. Now go ahead and make the 1 hand shape by extending just 1 finger. We're going to use this to show a person walking along. We might have the person maybe a little staggering drunk or something, tottering back and forth, or just walking along. It's that movement that makes the difference. Now make the 3 hand shape. We're going to set the 3 out in front of us like it's a car. We've got 2 cars going down the road. We can show them as they're moving along. And then 1 car pulls in front and passes the other car. Now, I want you to look at this picture behind me. We're going to take that car again, and I want you to help me. If we were going to take our hand shape as the car, what would we need to do to make it match this picture? Can you show it as it peels out like that? We're going to match the movement to the picture, to the meaning. We can show the dust rising up behind it. Do you see how movement can change the meaning? I'm going to give you some more complex sentences in ASL. Do you see the actual vocabulary, the hand shape is the same, the sign for working. But what changes is the movement, and as the movement changes, it changes the meaning. It's fascinating how American Sign Language uses the power of that complex aspect of movement to change meaning. Let me show you another example. Do you see how the movement changes? The sign doesn't change, but the movement changes and therefore changes the meaning. It has power. There's also times where we change the sign to match the concept of what's being communicated. So this is to physically move. You want to physically move something. Or, your story emotionally moved me. Do you notice in this case, the sign is different. The sign has to match the concept that's being communicated. Often, when deaf children struggle to read, the reason why is because those around them who are trying to teach them the sign for move, they look inside of a dictionary, they see that sign to physically move something, and they talk about a story moving, and they use that sign for physical movement to say, your story moved me, but it doesn't match the concept for the child. They need to use the sign for emotionally moving someone. Many deaf children have to learn that, when they learn that concept, their reading dramatically improves. Often people ask me, you were deaf. How is it that as a deaf person you were able to play football? How did you do that? A deaf person couldn't hear what's going on the field. And my answer is that it was simple. It was simple. All I had to know is that there's the ball, and when the ball moved, I moved.